Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to be doing a quick little intro into FS25 here so that you can kind of get some help if you aren't used to playing the game. So we are starting up a brand new save file here on New Farmer. I turned off the guided tour. All we are going to kind of worry about is how you can do things and what you need to do in order to get farming. So when we start off here, we've got a couple different fields. We've got 4 to be exact. First thing we can do is right in the start menu here, we can see what types of fields they are. But if we scroll over here, you will see the growth state. So you can see that field 3 and 5 are ready to harvest. 2 was just harvested. 4 was just plowed. So we are going to look at what we need to do from each of those points to get moving here. First thing we'll do is we will grab the harvester and we're going to drive out until we can get our trailer and header out, and I will detach the trailer. We're going to come around and pick up the header off of it, and you just need to come around to it to where you've got your square matched up with that square hole, kind of, sort of. Click A to attach and it will pop it right onto the harvester. We're going to unfold the harvester. And once you come over here, we're going to lower it. And I probably have crop discretion turned on. I'm not going to go all the way through. We're actually going to just set a worker to do it. So the only thing you have to see, though, is right now, if we set our worker to do it, our pipe here is going to be on the inside if they're starting with the headlands. So we actually are going to want to face this way to start. That way our pipe is on the outside, so that when we need to go and unload, if we need to go unload while it's harvesting, we don't have to worry about driving over any crops. So I'm going to go ahead and close that pipe again, and we're just going to tap on our hire worker button. And he should start going in the correct direction here for us and start harvesting that field. Now, what about this field that's already been plowed and is pretty much ready to go? If you want to be more realistic, you can take the cultivator and go back through it because, well, that's a little bit rough of an area to put seeds in, but we're just going to go ahead and seed it because we don't have to go back through and plow it or cultivate it. Now, the only other issue is I'm going to have to sell that Challenger off without even getting into it because my game is a little bit bugged, and if I hop into that Challenger, it is going to crash the audio from my game, and I really don't want that to happen. So we are going to sell that off after we get this started up seeding. But first, we will attach our seeder. And then we're going to pull right up next to this bag of seed here. And in order to kind of cheat a little bit and not have to pick that up and put it in, you can see it says refill seeder up there. We're just going to tap that left stick and it will actually fill our seeder without us picking it up. The other way you can do it is if you have a front loader, wheel loader, telehandler, or skid steer, you can use either a big bag, hook, or a pallet fork to lift up that bag, lift it over where it opens here on the seeder, and it will fill the seeder. Now, we've got to determine what we want to plant. So if you have seasons on, which it is by default in the game settings here, I believe, which will be right down, where is it? Right down here. If you have that on, you have to go with the crop calendar. So if we go look at the crop calendar, anything that's green right now we can plant. So we can plant canola, which is probably what we're going to do. We can do poplar, which is a little bit of a tougher crop to get into, and we would have to buy some more stuff to actually harvest it. Or we can do grass, which we don't have anything to harvest that with right now either. So right now, we're just going to stick to canola here. So if I hold LB on my controller and keep hitting Y until I get to where it says canola, we will be all set. And I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to hold B so that I can see how this is set up to run for the worker, because again, I'm just going to have a worker do it. I'm going to go ahead and hit B and have our worker do that. And he is going to, it looks like I was set to not have him start with the headland, so he's going to go over to the middle and start driving around in the center. Over here, we've got more wheat that will need to be harvested. And then down at the end here, on our last field, it was harvested and is going to need to be cultivated or plowed. We don't have required plowing on, so we don't have to plow it. We can just cultivate it. Now, if you have a direct drill seeder, you don't have to worry about cultivating it. Honestly, I haven't looked through the seeders enough to know if we do have any direct drill seeders yet in FS25. We probably do. I just haven't bothered looking at seeders. Once more mods come out, there will be a ton of direct drill seeders. But we do have to cultivate it, and I cannot use that tractor. So, first thing we're going to do is pop over to our buy menu here, and we're going to go to vehicles, and Challenger right there, we are going to sell because I don't want to crash my audio. Then we're going to go back to our buy menu, and I'm going to go for, let's see, I've got $1 million. That cultivator's not too big, though. We're going to go for a medium tractor, and I want to do that Steyr, I think. Nope. The mesh in the grill there drives me nuts, so I'm not going to do that one. We're going to go for the AgroStar because I know I won't have a problem with that, and 230 horsepower should be enough for that cultivator without me looking at that cultivator. Now, the other thing we will end up needing, which I'm going to get right now just so that I can bring it back with us and not have to make a separate trip, is we are going to need a fertilizer. So we're going to come down to yield improvement. Now, we're just going to do a fertilizer spreader. And we've got 4 options, but in my opinion, we only have 1 option. This is the only one that will also do lime. So unless you have lime turned off, you're going to need to buy this. Now, even if you want to do manure or if you want to do a sprayer in order to do your fertilizer, if you have lime turned on, you still need to buy this one. So we're going to go ahead and buy that. And the only other change I'm going to make is I'm going to put on that 6-meter spreading unit so that it will go a bit further. Okay. Now I'm going to tab over until I get into our tractor. And I'm not going to worry about filling this up or buying anything from the shop to fill it up because we do have a buy point right by our farm. So we'll just fill it up over there. But we'll head back to the farm here. And then I will be able to set this tractor off to cultivating. Now, I could buy another tractor and have that cultivate and have this start doing lime or fertilizer somewhere, but I kind of want to make this a little bit simpler to keep up with, so we're going to do the limit of, 2 tractors in our harvester, because that is what you start with. And if, you know, your Challenger isn't bugged out and it runs just fine for you and doesn't crash your audio, there's no reason to sell it and buy something else. You can just keep going with the Challenger. But for me, that just isn't an option because it drives me nuts to be playing this with no game audio at all. So, now that we are back at our farm, I'm going to just kind of unceremoniously drop this off right over here because we need to grab the cultivator that's in here. And we need to start cultivating our field that was harvested over on the side. And it really doesn't matter where they go or what direction he goes in because he's going to be working all on his own on this field until that gets finished. So I'm just going to go ahead and start our worker and let him go on his merry way. Let's check on our other guys here now. And it looks like we're doing pretty good. He might be just starting to work on those headlands there. And we've still got a while for that to finish up its harvest, it looks like. An easy cheat too, not really cheat, but easy tip for you to be able to check where they're at on a field, or where you're at if you're doing it, or if there's any spots you missed. If you go back to your menu and you go back over to growth or soil composition, depending on what you're doing, you can see what has been done and what needs to be done. So right now, he's gotten that whole green section planted, and that's all growing. You'll notice it does lag behind him a little bit, but, you know, that's okay. All you've got to do is kind of refresh it, and it'll pop back up, or exit your menu and go back. But either way, we know that field is almost completed. So once he gets finished up here, I will be right back so that we can get our next step in the process going. All right, now that this is finished harvesting and we are almost done seeding as well, I want to show you two things to do with your harvest here. So first off, if your harvester fills up in the field while you are harvesting, all you're going to need to do is drive your trailer over to it. Now, right now, our trailer is over in the garage there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up and hop out. And we're going to grab our tractor that is now done seeding, and I'm going to move the seeder out of the way because we don't need it on that field anymore. And we're going to grab our trailer here. All right, now if you're still harvesting in the field and it's full or close to full, you can drive right under the pipe here and it will start unloading just like that. So we'll go ahead and let that empty into there real quick, just because let's say we're still in the field and we're going to do it that way. You can also unload it where I'm going to show you that we're going to unload this trailer, and you can unload it right into the same spot, but that's all right. We're just going to fill the trailer, even though it'll take like 10 seconds longer than if we were to just drive the harvester over there. So now that our trailer's filled up, we're going to drive it over and dump it into our silo. You can also look up and go sell it right away, but you're not going to get the greatest prices if you sell everything immediately, because typically the prices are going to be lowest whenever you harvest it and higher when they're out of harvest season. The way you find your prices, though, is you're going to go into your start menu and you're going to scroll down to the little stock market-y looking thing there, and you're going to move over to prices, and then you just need to find whatever it is that you're selling, and that's going to list all of your sale prices. Sale means what you are selling it for, what they are buying it for. Buying means what you would be buying from them for. So like if we look at the cake right there, the warehouse apparently sells cake at $14,000 a pallet. You sell it at $9,000 a pallet. So that would be really expensive to buy that cake. Or same like with the canola oil here, we can go and buy it from the warehouse for $7,000, which is almost twice of what we could sell it for right now. So now that we are done dumping that into our storage grain here, or grain silo, if you wanted to just back that back up or coming around for another loop, you could fill it back up, but we'll just hold it in there for now until our prices are better. And we are going to come back over and get the next step of that field going, which is we're going to grab this here fertilizer spreader, and that field is going to need both lime and fertilizer. We're only going to be able to do one at a time, but it's going to be the exact same process for both. So I'm going to show you the lime, and the next step after the lime would be to fertilize it. We don't need to worry about that though, so we're not going to, well, we don't need to take the time to show that off. I don't need to take the time to show that off. You don't need to watch it because it's the exact same process, the exact same thing. I don't know why I'm losing all of my rendering right there. That's an interesting new glitch I haven't seen. Okay, so we're going to come right over here. This is the lime station. And we're going to back up right underneath that spout. and then we're going to hit L to start filling. Now, if you look, you can buy both lime and fertilizer here. So once you're done doing your lime spreading, you can just come back and refill it with fertilizer instead. And I'll show you how to unload any of your extra lime, because I'm not going to try and even guess at how much we're going to need for the fields and try and get that accurate. We're just going to fill it all the way up, and whatever we have left over, we have for next time, because I started with $1 million. We don't need to worry about that, about the money at all. Now we're going to keep doing our little bit of off-roading there. If this tractor can make it up the hillside. And I can't make it. Okay, then we will go around the long way. So that we can avoid that steep hill right there, because this is too heavy for this tractor. And right about here we should be able to just cut across. And since he's cultivating this field anyway, we don't have to worry about damaging any crops. And typically within like the first growth state or two of the crops, you don't have to worry about it. If you have crop destruction on and you drive across a fully grown and or ready to harvest field like this one, you will see we are destroying that trail of crops and we are losing crop. You don't really want to do that. I'm only doing it right now just to show you what happens. That is what happens. That is a big no-no. So we're going to unfold our fertilizer spreader here. And we're going to set up guided steering this time, or GPS for us, or whatever they're calling it, steering assist. So right through here, we don't need to worry about changing anything. We're just going to hit OK. Now, this lane is starting right in front of us. On controller here, I'm going to be hitting B to activate onto that lane. We're going to turn on our fertilizer spreader with the lime, and it is just going to lock us into that nice straight path as we drive and coat this with lime. Now, it should be turning everything white behind us. It is. For some reason, while I was in the tractor, we just couldn't see it. So let's get back in. We're going to turn that back on. And we are going to reactivate our lane. Now, once I get to the corner here, you're going to hear it beep. Or it should have beeped. There we go, as it takes us off of our lane. Then we have to just kind of readjust so that we are back to the lane. Hit B to reactivate guided steering again. And it'll just keep us on that nice straight path. And again, it kicks us off. We just need to spin around. And I might miss a little bit because I'm not doing perfect turns there, but with how overlapped this field is because it's so small and I picked the larger spreading width on this, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Seeing there it beeped again, telling us that we were close to the end of our lane. We're just going to go out like that. We're going to turn off. And then we'll come back over this way and turn it back on, because this should be plenty of space to just come forwards, then hop into this lane and finish off this field, because, I mean, the width of this is probably a little bit more than a third of this field, so these 3 swipes, we are getting it perfectly coated. And we are done with lime. Now, like I said, next step would be for fertilizer. So all you have to do is we're going to drive out of the way somewhere here. And I'm going to hold RB on my controller. And when I hit Y to unload, it's going to just spit out pallets of lime right behind us. Then once you want to refill the lime, all you need to do is come over and hit refill, just like we did with the cedar. This will work whether we're doing lime or fertilizer. The only thing to note with fertilizing is you will have to do it twice. You do it once the day you plant, and then you'll do it one more time the next day or really the next month. So if you have on 2 or 3 month days, 2 or 3 day months, something like that, you're going to wait until your next month after planting in order to go back over a second time with fertilizer so that you get to 100% fertilized. So 1 fertilization run will give you 50%, 2 will give you 100%. Now, the only other thing that I really have not covered in terms of the starting stuff, which it's not doing on here either, is rocks. If you have rocks turned on and your equipment picks up rocks, you will actually see rocks sitting on the ground. You will also see it if you look at your composition here. You'll see a bunch of little yellow, orange, or red dots all over it. There's going to be 2 different ways you can get rid of that. You can do it by rolling the field if they are small stones, or if they're the large red stones, you'll need to get a stone picker. There is only 1 stone picker, and it is way down. Did I go into the wrong spot? I went into the wrong spot. There it is. There's only the 1 stone picker. You just simply buy it and you run it over the field just like anything else, and it will pick up all of your stones. Then you'll dump your stones out and sell them, or just pile them up until you finally have to deal with them at some point and get rid of them. The other way of doing it is rolling. You also want to roll your field even if you don't have stones, because it will give you a boost as well. So we're going to go ahead and buy a roller. And just to make things go a little bit quicker right now, I'm going to buy another tractor as well. We're going to go for another medium. In fact, we're just going to go ahead and do another AgroStar. I don't know why I keep saying it's an AgroStar. And we're going to take this roller back to our field and roll that field that we just fertilized. As long as you roll the field after you plant your seeds, you'll get your bonus. You just don't want to wait like 2 months and be destroying the crops because you're driving over them and rolling over them. So as long as it's freshly planted, in fact, I think it has to be the same month you planted, I figured out, because I did have on another save file an issue where it would not let me roll the seeds on the first stage growth. So just after you plant, make sure you go ahead and roll. I believe you can roll before you plant as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that just because of I haven't done it yet in FS25. In FS22, I'm pretty sure you could roll. Things change between games. So we're going to go ahead and roll now that everything is planted. And we'll let the AI worker do that as well. And I did just see a field that had weeds in it, so I will buy that field then, and we'll take a look at the weeds if you're running weeds. Okay, we're going to go ahead and unfold our roller. This worker might end up getting jammed up with our spreader there, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And like I've said, we're just going to go ahead and hire a worker and let a worker roll the field and hopefully not roll us over. And all they do is literally drive the roller over the field and it will get rolled. So you can see over here it says needs rolling. Over here behind it, it just says weeds growing. And I want to buy the field that's filled with weeds so you can really see what it actually does. So we are going to go ahead and go to farmlands here, and it was 10 over here. We're going to go ahead and buy 10. And then we're going to buy a sprayer because I personally prefer getting a sprayer. The hose and weeders only work if you are spraying or if you're going after smaller weeds. The sprayers will work no matter what size weed it is. You can also fertilize with the sprayer as well if you buy liquid fertilizer. So to me, they're a little bit more versatile and a little bit easier to use than buying simply a mechanical weeder. So we'll go ahead and buy another tractor, and we're just going to buy that one because it's on sale. And now the other thing we need is we are going to need some weed killer. So we're going to scroll all the way down here to pallet tanks, and we have herbicide. It doesn't matter which one you buy. It's just different licensing deals within the game. They do the exact same thing for the exact same price. So we're going to go ahead and buy one pallet because I don't think we're even going to fit one full pallet into that. And we are going to pop over to our tractor here. If I can, there we go. Enter vehicle. That's a new one. Apparently the tractor we bought did not come with wheels. That's a new one for me. Even stranger, it's working? It's not working with that attached though. Alright, so quick little bug fix that we're gonna try. I don't know if this will work. We're gonna click on that tractor and hit reset. And it sends it back to the shop, and it still doesn't have any wheels. So that would be broke. So we're gonna buy a new tractor. I have not seen that yet. We're just gonna buy another Agro Star because we know that has wheels. Yeah, anyway, moving on. We're gonna pick up our sprayer here and refill it with the herbicide. And we're gonna keep our working with maxed out because we might as well, just to get this field done quicker. And I'm going to go ahead and unfold our sprayer as we're driving into the field. Now, again, like I said with crop destruction, depending on the size of your crops, if you are spraying this too late, you will destroy crops when you drive over it. If you go and make a tractor or buy a tractor and select narrow wheels on it, you will not destroy the crops. So, a lot of the time, I will set up a dedicated spraying and or fertilizing tractor that has narrow wheels so that you don't have to worry about ruining your crops. Now you can adjust the height of your sprayer. As far as I'm aware, it only has visual effect and has no effect on actual gameplay. Same with kind of lowering the sprayer, other than the fact, like, you can see our tractor's kind of low, and if we lower it, we're picking up our tire and kind of losing traction. So I'm going to keep that up. We've got it unfolded. We've got our working with all the way out. We're going to turn that on. And as we drive through, we will be killing weeds. And maybe these weeds are already dead? These weeds are already dead. These were already sprayed. My mistake. So that's what it looks like when they're dead. I could have sworn they used to be a little bit darker in FS22. Maybe I was wrong. Let's see if I can find one real quick that has weeds in it. Nope, that's going to be under the next one, under soil composition. Weeds. So brown is for dead weeds, green is for live weeds. So we're going to go ahead and buy farm 15 there because it's right next to us with weeds. There we go. That I can already see them. That looks a little bit more correct. They are alive and multicolored. So those are what your weeds look like once they are grown or growing and not killed. And you'll see they're going to turn brown like they were, and we will kill them off right away. And again, just kind of for the visual effect, I'm going to end up raising our sprayer here so that you can get a little bit better view of underneath. We're going to turn our sprayer on. And We should be killing those weeds. Maybe we do actually need to lower our sprayer. Is this ready? You know what? This is a harvesting. That one's ready to harvest. We can't do it if it's ready to harvest. What about 16? 16 is not ready to harvest. All right, third time's a charm for finding a sprayable field. Here we go. Now, they aren't multicolored, but all of these larger little plants sticking up, those are all weeds. The rest of the spinach there, I think that's the spinach field. There we go, finish unfolding it. So, now again, if we unfold our sprayer, and see, I am destroying some crops here. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to come out and spray, and now you can see we are killing off all of those weeds. If any hen has any questions, thoughts, concerns, leave a comment and let me know. Otherwise, have a fantastic day and happy gaming.